Journaling, the OG self-improvement habit. You hear about it all the time, and it's supposed to be this miracle tool that helps you clear your mind and process your emotions and set and achieve your goals. Heck, there's even studies showing that apparently it lowers your blood pressure. And here you are, frustrated because you've tried journaling and it doesn't seem to do anything for you. Is it all just hype and no substance? The truth is, you can have two people doing what looks like the exact same thing and get opposite results. They're both sitting there writing in their little notebooks, but person A writes in a way that actually increases the noise in their mind, makes them feel even more overwhelmed and confused, and literally makes their mental health worse. Meanwhile, person B makes a subtle mental shift while writing, and as a result unlocks all the benefits you've heard of and more. This is the difference between rumination and introspection. And I'm about to show you exactly how you can stop being this guy and start being this guy. First of all, hi, I'm Shane, and I've spent the last 2 decades immersed in everything self-development. During this time, I've read all the books, tried every tool, meditation, affirmations, somatic work, parts work, time boxing, habit stacking, biohacking, you name it, I've done it. I started out literally depressed, broke, and lonely, and I've become one of the happiest, most confident people I know. I'm financially free, and nowadays the problem I have is that my social calendar is too full, which is quite a nice problem to have, to be honest. But the point is, self-development changed my life, and that's an understatement. And in everything I've done and tried in 20 years, writing has been my longest running practice. In my experience, writing is not hyped up at all. In fact, based on what happened to me, I'd say that writing is way better than most people realize. But here's the thing. The reason this has been such a powerful practice for me is because what I do isn't journaling. I've developed a different approach. And when I've shared this approach with other people who have tried journaling but it didn't work for them, an immediate shift happens for them too. So here's how you can experience this shift for yourself. The first thing we need to understand is the paradox of self-reflection. When you spend a lot of time thinking about yourself, it's a bad sign, quite frankly. I'm sure you can see this pattern in your own life. During the best times, you're focused on things outside yourself. You're immersed in work, you're absorbed in a fascinating conversation, you're thinking intensely about a problem that you really care to solve, you're admiring a beautiful landscape or a beautiful person. In all these moments, thoughts about yourself disappear. And on the other hand, during your worst moments, all your thoughts circle around yourself. Like think about when you're lying in bed with a fever, for example. It's hard to focus on anything other than the pain and suffering you're experiencing right here and right now. Or when you experience a breakup or a painful rejection, your mind circles around why me and all of your shortcomings. In fact, ruminating thoughts and lots of self-concern are clear markers of anxiety and depression, which would suggest that thinking about yourself is just bad for you. But self-reflection is also the path to solving many of life's problems. Basically, if you never take a moment to reflect on your actions and think about what you're doing and how you might do better, you can't learn from your experiences. You can't get better. You can't expect to grow. Growth, healing, progress, solving the biggest problems in your life, none of this is possible if you never think about yourself. So how do we resolve this paradox? What exactly is the difference between the kind of self-reflection that's a sign of poor mental health and the kind that's actually necessary for personal growth? Here's what I found over many years of experimenting with writing. It's all about how you use writing. From the outside, it looks like the same thing, but subtle differences inside, in your mind, make all the difference in the outcomes you get. Here's what I found. There are 3 levels of writing. Level 1 is when you write and it actually makes things worse. This is writing as rumination. It's when you use writing to wallow in your self-pity. You write out the dramas in your mind without examining them. You confirm all of your fears without moving beyond them. This is the kind of thing where you go, why do bad things always happen to me? And then the conclusion you come to is something like, it must be because I'm so broken and so unlovable. The universe is punishing me. Needless to say, this is not very productive. Level 2 is venting. You feel upset, you vent to your journal, and you feel some temporary relief. You're writing in a way where you're letting the emotions out instead of spinning in a circle, which is a lot better than level 1. But you'll find that most likely you have the same emotions and the same need to vent again, maybe a few days or a week or so later. And you can look back at your journal entries over time and clearly see that you're stuck in a loop. So this is better, but still not great. Level 3 is introspective writing. This is when you write to bring clarity to your inner world. When you allow yourself to express your emotions and you also step back and examine them. You make space for your emotions without overly identifying with them. You express the stories in your mind as a way to understand yourself more deeply, but you don't fully buy into them. This is the kind of writing that helps you move beyond where you started. It's the kind of writing that gives you not just temporary relief, but allows you to rewrite your mental and emotional habits and make real progress. This is the kind of writing that I call the most powerful tool for personal growth. Here's a simple but powerful reframe. What makes the 3 levels different from each other is how you relate to your problems in each level. At level 1, you are in the problem. At level 2, you're letting the problem out, but as a way to avoid it. At level 3, you're taking a step back in order to examine the problem. You're not trying to get rid of it, avoid it, or minimize it, but you're also not taking it too personally. You're not wallowing in self-pity and you're not catastrophizing. It's a subtle internal motion, but it makes all the difference. Are you in the washing machine of your emotions? Or are you trying to get away from your emotions in an avoidant kind of way? Or are you stepping back while still fully facing towards whatever emotional and mental stuff is going on? Are you taking a step back, putting distance between yourself and the problem, but still being fully willing to face it and examine it? So how do you do this in practice? How do you make sure you're doing level 3 writing and getting all of those benefits every single time? The best answer I found is to start with good prompts. Instead of just writing freestyle and hoping for the best, follow a proven structure. Let's make this practical. Here's a structure you can use right away to experience how effective it is for yourself. Start with a problem you're currently struggling with and pick something that is bothering you, something that feels emotionally charged. And by the way, I'm encouraging you to do this because this is exactly the kind of thing where most people will fall into level 1 or level 2 writing and then stay stuck. Now, the first step is to give this problem a title. Before you get carried away writing about it, give it a title that clearly identifies this one problem in my life. For example, a title could be Job Search Frustration, or Feeling Lonely, or Always the Same Fight with My Partner. So you write that down and then move on to step 2. Step 2. Describe exactly what happened the last time you felt this problem. What's the last situation that triggered all the emotions associated with this? For example, I had a fight with my partner yesterday evening. Now here's the important part. Describe exactly what happened as seen by a security camera, meaning you only describe whatever objectively happened. Don't describe feelings or thoughts yet. For example, I'm not going to write, my partner made me feel sad and angry because she doesn't respect me. Those are all assumptions. And none of that would be visible on a security camera. Instead, I'd write something like, I came into the living room. I said X. She responded Y. We started yelling at each other. Then she stormed off and slammed the door, and I did the same. That's what actually happened. Step 3. Now, write down the emotions and feelings that come up for you. So now is where you can describe things like, I felt sad and angry. Now here's a bonus tip that makes this super powerful and trains you to make that internal step back motion that's so important for level 3 writing. When you describe your thoughts and emotions, use the phrase, the story I have about this, or the story in my mind is. So instead of formulating things as accusations and assumptions like we usually do, like this person made me feel sad because they didn't respect me, write, when this person said X, the story in my mind was that they don't respect me and that makes me feel sad. Now, this one's a bit silly, but sometimes I even use the phrase, the Bollywood drama in my mind is, because let's be honest, our mind loves to come up with some really dramatic stories when we get upset. Things like, when she didn't respond to my text, the Bollywood drama in my mind was that she secretly hates me and is currently seeing someone else, and she'll finally tell me that she never loved me in the first place, and I'll be sad and no one will ever love me, and I'll live in a shack with 19 cats until I die from a broken heart, friendless and alone. I know I'm not alone making up stories like this when I get upset. Writing out the Bollywood drama is a great way to allow your fears to fully express themselves without getting caught up in them. Okay, so now we have the situation, you have a description of what happened, and you have your writing about the feelings, thoughts, and stories in your mind that came up. I bet at this point, you already feel so much clearer about the situation, simply by describing what happened in this structured way. But now comes the best step. Step 4. Imagine that a dear friend of yours comes to you with exactly the problem you just described. What advice would you give them? Really take a moment to imagine your best friend or maybe a sibling coming to you and describing exactly what you just wrote down. And pick someone whom you really love and support totally, someone who you just want to see happy and thriving. Then write down literally word for word, what would you tell this person in response to everything you just described above. This feels amazing. The clarity and relief you get from doing this, you have to try it out to experience this effect for yourself. And it's a great example of what level 3 writing feels like. And it gets even better than that. One surprising thing I found about writing is how much I benefit from it when I'm not writing. See, what happens is that in the beginning, you use prompts like the one I just shared with you to practice this kind of productive introspection. And you need the prompts because doing this is not intuitive. But over time, you get used to it. You start to recognize the patterns. And you can now do that internal motion automatically that gives you the level 3 feelings and results. And then something even better happens. You start doing it automatically, even in your own mind, even before you sit down and write about anything. And that's when you notice that things just don't trigger you as much anymore. Because, for example, in your mind, you're automatically sorting things into what actually happened, what emotions came up, and the stories in my mind that I made up about it. You're already taking that internal step back and not getting caught up in the situation as much. And this feels like a superpower compared to how emotionally immature most people are, compared to how caught up in the emotional storm most people are. This really makes you stand out. Writing like this is like a gym for your mental and emotional clarity. It changes your habits of mind, the way you live and feel day by day. And just like the gym, the more and more consistently you do it, the more amazing the results. If you'd like more writing prompts like this, check out the first link in the description, which goes to my integrity audit. This is an exercise that cuts deep, it's intense. But if you're ready for something really life-changing, check it out. You can also watch this video next to understand how integrity changed my life and why I created the integrity audit writing prompts. Really for myself, first and foremost. And for even more, check out my introspective writing course. This is a systematic program that walks you through dozens of prompts that are designed to essentially install the level 3 way of writing and thinking directly in your brain.